Hi everyone, today we are going to visit a very hidden gem of a guitar store in Singapore, and this is called Heirlooms Music. It's a specialist store that features a lot of vintage instruments and boutique instruments on top of your usual Martins, and they have some interesting guitars that we're going to check out as well. Thank you for having me here today.
You're most welcome.
I mean, I've been here quite a few times, but now I want you to show everyone who's watching what are some of the guitars we can find here at Heirlooms Music.
Okay, let's start with what you see here in the shop in general, apart from guitars. So we don't just sell guitars, we have vintage stuff as well, including vintage guitars. So we got a vintage piano here, that's about 200 years old by a brand called Chicory. So it was originally a regular upright piano, but an inventor converted it to something called a Nickelodeon, like the channel. But basically it comprises a bunch of percussive instruments installed into the piano with pneumatic systems where the whole thing plays by itself, even the piano parts.
So can I actually play it right now?
You can play it like a normal piano, yes.
I can play it like okay, I don't actually play piano, but I can play some simple chords. That's about all that I know on piano. So this is like a treasure trove of basically old, vintage, and
you could say that
historically rich stuff.
Yes, not just instruments, stuff. Stuff is the right word. And so we also have a jukebox there. That's from the 1970s, I believe. So it uses CDs, but it's really old Fender jukebox, using flip pages and writing just to select your songs.
Wow, okay.
So at the front of the store here, we have some small size guitars. And also some beginner guitars for newbies, like starting from $300, $400 and above.
Right.
Yeah, and then as we go in further, we start getting to some interesting brands like Bedell, Vanda, which is a brand, our in-house brand, designed by us, and we start getting brands like Dowina.
What is Dowina? So I see you have quite a few Dowinas over here.
Yes. So Dowina is a brand from Slovakia that we distribute. Lovely brand, lovely people as well. We stand by working with nice people, wonderful people. So Dowina is actually a family business run by a lady who builds guitars by hand, and she has a team of builders who builds with her. Her parents used to build violins. So now she's building guitars, and the brand Dowina is actually named after a castle in her town in Slovakia.
I do want to try one. Do you mind letting me try one?
Of course,
now?
You're most welcome to. I do want to speak about this particular Dowina.
Okay, this one.
This one here. So this is special because we had it customized. You know, it being handmade, we asked them to customize the guitar for us. We had the dove actually inlaid here, a purple leaf, and it's called the Peace guitar. It's made of a dolomite spruce on the top. Back inside made of purple heart, naturally purple.
That's purple color.
Purple.
Like, is it naturally purple?
It is.
The tree is purple color.
The wood is basically purple. Yeah.
Wow.
So the reason why we asked them to build this and call it the Peace guitar is because they've actually opened up their homes and their factories to the Ukrainian refugees. And gave them a new life over there. So we wanted to commemorate them by building this guitar. And when we do sell these guitars, we're going to donate proceeds of it back to them to help them with the refugees.
Wow, okay. Okay, now I have to try it.
Okay. So moving on to Martin guitars. So we do carry a mix of Martins, being new guitars and also vintage. So vintage is very special because Martin does have a very, very rich history.
Yes.
And the guitars are very high value. So for new guitars, we had models like the D18, D28, the D16 RGT, the Triple OX 2E. But we also have some very special ones like the Martin Eric Clapton model. With the Brazilian rose on the back and side. And we have a couple of vintages here. This is a 1930 0021NY with the Brazilian rosewood on the back and side. You can see it's very beat up. It was in very bad condition before, but it's been refurbished by Martin themselves. This is a 1940 0018.
Wow, okay.
From the Golden
1940. So you said golden era.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So the golden era for Martin and Gibson guitars are basically between 1920s to early 1940s.
Right.
So this is considered the golden era, pre-war period. It was built in a certain way using certain woods, and the construction was just built in a certain way and made them last.
And these are some of the most sought after Martins in the world, right?
Yes. So golden eras have very high value, and they hold value and even appreciate in value as well.
Okay.
So people buy vintage guitars for two reasons. One is utility, because they generally like the sound, because these guitars age like fine wine. So they sound very nice over time. The other reason is because of investment value.
Right.
Not only do they like the guitar, but there's also value in the guitar. They know it can appreciate in value, so they buy and they keep it, and then eventually appreciates its value. For example, during an economic crisis, when people don't trust the dollar value anymore, what do they invest in? Gold,
Right.
property, guitars. So it has investment value, especially golden era guitars.
Can I try out this golden
Please.
era one? This is a 0018.
18.
That means mahogany,
Mahogany
back
and the
and
back.
sides, and a spruce top.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
So 18 is always mahogany, 28 is usually
Yeah.
rosewood.
Yeah. I love a good vintage guitar, and it's incredibly lightweight as
Yes.
well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, where are we going next?
Okay, so here we got a mix of Gibson vintages and boutique. So over here with a bunch of Gibson vintages. We have an old J200 over there.
All right.
This is a Gibson Banner J45. We have a bunch of arch tops over here. So arch top guitars are very widely used by jazz guitarists back in the day in the early 1900s. Arch tops are basically they're arched and they have the F hole, so they're very inspired by violins. And then later on, the guitar got modernized and became a flat top, right? And over here, we got some boutique guitars over here. So boutique guitars are basically otherwise known as master built guitars. So they're built by master luthiers. So it's one guy, one man show, goes out to find his woods, builds a guitar by hand by himself. So
Right.
these guys produce a few guitars a year because everything's built by hand.
Okay.
So these are generally boutique guitars. So they tend to use more exotic woods. There's more attention to detail. There's stuff that you don't see, which is basically the internal structure of the guitar. They have their own engineering techniques on how they build the internal bracing, which you cannot see, which causes the guitar to resonate more and just become more projecting. One example is this one. This is a built by Bourgeois. Small guitar. It's an old size, old custom.
What wood is the headstock that looks really gorgeous?
That's a Brazilian rosewood.
Brazilian.
So
Wow,
the headstock
okay.
you can see is Brazilian rosewood on the plate, and the back is also Brazilian rosewood.
Wow. Okay. So this is a new guitar, right?
Yes, so Brazilian rosewood has been protected since 1970. So any
Yeah.
new guitar that's built with Brazilian rosewood is reused from furniture.
Oh wow. Okay. So I was
Yes.
just wondering because what I understood is that new guitars and Brazilian rosewood don't really line up.
Correct.
It doesn't happen.
Yes.
Okay. So there is a very limited stock of Brazilian rosewood
Exactly.
that can be used for guitars today.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
So they're reused on furniture or other products, but basically the trees are not allowed to be cut down anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
So do you know if this was a chair or a table? Or...
I have no idea. But just to give you an example of what I was talking about earlier, it's a small guitar, but
Yes. Wow.
it's loud.
Nice.
Which is really impressive for a small size guitar. It's really loud. So that is a result of the kind of bracing they use, a technique, and how they construct the entire structural integrity of the soundboard and everything.
Right.
So these are techniques that boutique builders use.
I'm
Did you work-
itching to try it.
Yes,
Can I-
please.
Can I touch it?
Please.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. That rings out really
Right?
well for such a small guitar. So
It's impressive how loud it is despite its small size, which is unexpected. And not atypical of small guitars. Joe Conkerly. So it looks just like a Martin.
Yes, it
but
does.
it's not a Martin. And it sounds different from a Martin.
Right.
It's another one of those special guitars that really resonates. It's loud. It's lightweight, like you talked about with vintage, right? Have a feel of this one. It's really light.
Oh wow. Okay. For a relatively bigger guitar, it's incredibly lightweight. Nice. Thank you so much.
It's very resonant.
Wow, it's so like I'm passing it to you. It's
Yeah.
like feather weight.
I know.
All right.
Another boutique you should try is this one. This one's very special to us. It's built by another American builder. His name is Brock Johnston. We know him personally. And this is special because this particular piece won Best Guitar of the Year on Guitar Magazine some years back.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Beautiful.
this exact guitar,
piece.
not just this model or this type of
This
guitar.
piece.
Wow. Okay.
This is the piece that won it. So it's a spruce top, koa binding on the back and side, and on the edges. The back and side is a special kind of sapelli. You see that this has got this three-dimensional effect in the light. So Brock's guitars have a very unique quality. All his guitars sound like this. I know because I own a Brock myself. Very balanced, very sweet, extremely intimate in tone. I wouldn't say they're extremely loud guitars, but they're just so balanced. It's just a great recording guitar. You can hear every frequency, great separation in the lows, mids, and highs. So I encourage you to try this one. It sounds amazing.
All right. No wonder it won Best Guitar of the Year. Yeah. Wow. I am looking that there is a very secret vault room here.
Yes.
Can we go in?
Yes, of course you can. Come on
Let's
in.
go.
So this is the vault where we store a lot of our high value vintages. A lot of the
Okay.
very old and very high value stuff. For example, over here, we have a Martin 1920s Tripolo 28. So Tripolo size, 28 being rosewood on the back and sides, and it being so early, it's Brazilian rosewood.
Okay.
And next to it is the Tripolo 18 on the left.
So basically, this is all the really, really high-end, expensive, and
High
rare stuff
Yes.
here.
So we have brands like Bronson, Wurlitzer. If you ever heard of the brand called Wurlitzer,
I have not.
they made guitars back in the day, Wurlitzer.
Okay.
This one and that one over there are made by a brand called Larson Brothers.
Who made Martins to a certain degree? I know a little bit of the history.
They were involved with manufacturing Martin guitars as well.
Okay.
And so there's a debate about who invented the X bracing. People say Martin, but from what I hear, it's actually Larson Brothers who invented the X bracing.
Right.
And so they're highly valuable, highly sought after by collectors. This is also a Larson Brothers guitar. It's called the model is called the Prairie State. It's got something unique which you don't see in guitars typically. It's got a rod going through. I believe it goes into the neck, and so you can see that rod inside the sound
Right.
over there. And then here is Ervin Somogyi.
This is like the boutique guitar builder.
Yes.
Right.
So he's very well known as a boutique guitar builder. And if you want to get his guitar, you have to pre-order it in advance, and then it's a bit of a waiting time. But his guitars are very high value because of his
Right.
name.
I've heard a lot about him, but I've never actually played an Ervin Somogyi. Do I dare?
You can try it, yes.
Okay. It's my first time playing an Ervin Somogyi guitar. Let's check it out. play this guitar a lot when you're here?
Honestly, I don't touch it a lot because I'm scared.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a very expensive guitar.
I wanted to talk about this chair because it looks very out of place in this treasure trove of guitars, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's some important vintage old thing that is of great historical value. Is that right?
Yes, not as vintage as some of the guitars here, but it's definitely old school. It was actually used in Michael Jackson's music video with his sister Janet in the music video called Scream. The song
Okay.
called Scream, where they were dressed in white. They were dancing around in this white spaceship.
I've seen that video. I like that song.
There was a set of these chairs. This is one of them.
Right, right. So is it that there's Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson's DNA on this chair?
I don't know if the DNA will still be there, but
I think you've shown me pretty much that you have a lot of vintage instruments, a lot of boutique instruments. Thank you so much for
You're most welcome,
showing
Neil.
all these beautiful instruments. I think it's such a joy for you to work here and for me to come and visit.
yeah, and I mean, not just working here, but also meeting people coming to the shop. We want people to experience these instruments, especially the vintage, because most people can't afford these things. So we love to enable people to try and experience these instruments. Even if they can't afford it, it's fine. We want them to experience it, because it's something that people don't get to experience. If you go to a store where they put expensive guitars in a big glass showroom and you're just intimidated to go in, we don't want people to be intimidated here. We want people to feel welcome and feel free to try anything they want.
Yeah, it's really a welcoming place, Heirlooms. If you're in Singapore, I really hope that you can make a trip here. It's so full of history and so full of fun and joy as well. Yeah, thank you for watching the video today. Thank you, Andre. And yeah, I'll see you next time. And now I'm just gonna play some guitars on my own time, but I'm gonna end the video here. Alright, so take care and see you. Bye-bye.